We are now live streaming here on episode 110. We close out April on the Real Kyper at Noon show and slowly getting to the end of the regular season. Been watching some playoff races. What happened last night? Did it kind of pour water on a few races? I get that feeling. 10 games last night. Talk about the Rangers. I'll even get Doug Maclean to talk about the New York Rangers. Some out there, with good reason maybe, feel like just Doug Maclean doesn't want to talk Rangers. At least that's what social media told us yesterday. So let's bring him in from sunny Florida, Doug Maclean, to talk Rangers, Hart Trophy, pickleball, whatever's on his mind.
What do you want to talk? What do you want me to talk about today? The fact that the Rangers won one face-off in the first period, and they really don't look like they're going to make the playoffs. I guess I should spend an hour on them. Anyway, I got a kick out of it. They give me a little. I like Fox. As a matter of fact, I'm the guy that brought his name up to you that we should talk about him.
Are we buying into that he should be the favorite for the Norse? Are we there yet with you?
I'm not there yet, but I'll tell you what, I did look at his numbers closely.
Yeah, they're pretty darn good.
They're pretty impressive, and he's had an amazing year. And yeah, I mean, you look at Carlson and you look at him, and points are one thing, and but if you look at the total picture, he still had a hell of a year, and he deserves consideration. I'll be shocked if he wins it, if his team doesn't make the playoffs, but of course that can happen.
Well, and just on a final note here, you look at the blue line around him, Mac, and it's not exactly like he's got McDonough, Sergachev, who's got a few years under his belt now. They look good. They look promising in Miller and Lindgren, but this guy is seeing a lot of the other team's best players and still managing to put on a lot of offense for the Rangers. So yeah, I think he's got a chance, Mac, to win this thing.
Yeah, I think it would be quite impressive. As you said, supporting cast, team that doesn't make the playoffs yet, or looks like they're not going to make the playoffs yet. He has had an impressive year, and people knew he was going to be a good player. Everybody talked about him when he was in college. He was going to be that puck-moving defenseman. I didn't expect him to be this good this quick. So credit to him.
All right, we'll get
enough of the Ranger bullshit. I got it out there. I talked about the Rangers. Enough. Stop whining to me.
There you go. And we're gonna get. We started it last show in terms of major awards out there, and the Norris obviously is the one that brought Fox into the equation here. We're going to get into the Hart as well, but let's also welcome Jordan to this Friday show. And Jordan, last night, 10 games on tap, but also this NFL draft. And you're more of our guru when it comes to other sports, because Mac and I are entrenched in our hockey here. But what did you make out of the NFL draft last night? Because not just new names, but one that we all can recognize, and one of the best quarterbacks to ever play in Rodgers, and lots of noise there. But overall, the show that the NFL consistently puts out every draft year, what were your thoughts on it?
It's a spectacle. Honestly, it really is. If we compare the NFL, even the NBA draft to a lesser extent, they are appointment viewing. You have to watch. Yesterday at about maybe 4 p.m. Eastern time, it came down that Rodgers was not going to resign, not going to do an extension, did not want to return to the Packers. A lot of rumors and innuendo over the past year or so with the Packers GM not drafting offensive players to support him. They drafted his replacement in Jordan Love last year in the late first round. He didn't even suit up for a game during the regular season last year. So here you have a Hall of Fame, arguably one of the best quarterbacks of my generation, wanting help, not getting help from anybody. And then he made his play, he made his stance. So he goes out, he says, hey, it's no longer draft day. It's Aaron Rodgers day. And the rest of the night fell that way. So I would, before the show, I was talking to you guys and I was saying, what could the NHL do, or how is it possible to make that sort of statement, to be that dramatic to have that level of appointment viewing on a non-game day. I mean, we're talking about the offseason here, right?
Mac, you want to take a crack at this, or do you want me to go first?
Well, they tried it a couple of years ago when they put Berkey on there with his dynamic personality to liven it up. And, they had Jeff Merrick and Berkey, and, they tried to liven it up with that.
Can you knock it off?
What?
Jesus. Just, and maybe they should just hire you back to bring all the excitement back in to match the NFL.
I never worked the draft. The draft.
Jordan, the biggest issue here, you can't even compare. First of all, it's apples to oranges, and it starts with how popular the NFL is in the States and where we are hockey. We can match popularity in terms of the passion and emotion Canadians have for hockey with Americans to football, but what we can't match is 300 million people doing it. We don't have the numbers to support it. The other thing that really stands out is that we cannot get to the nuts and bolts of the hype for our 18-year-olds that are eligible for the draft in hockey. We just don't know enough about them. We know what college football means. These guys are superstars, national superstars coming into the draft. And we have a little bit of that with maybe, Mac, the top 3 or 4. But after that, nobody really knows anything about these kids. And if in fact, junior hockey was as popular to the masses as football college players are to the masses in the States, then we'd have a crack at doing something. But we have a tough time. We have a tough time selling junior hockey here.
Tough time getting them a TV platform. I mean, the college football. I mean, on a Saturday morning in the U.S., it's right away. You go to College Game Day. Mid-morning, Saturday, it's Kirk Herbstreit and the boys, and it's College Game Day. I follow college football as much as I follow Canadian Major Junior Hockey now. It's hard to believe. And obviously because I'm out of management and out of coaching, I don't pay nearly as much attention. But I follow college football because it is in your face 24/7 in the USA, and they do ESPN do an unbelievable job of selling college football on TV. Would you agree, Jordan?
Yeah, I mean, it's everywhere, especially when you talk about different regions like the SEC and stuff. But I completely agree with what you guys are saying. But we talk about these things kind of all the time, right? Where we talk about player salaries, where we talk about other leagues that we've been talking about throughout struggling with COVID. And I wonder what sort of steps or what sort of, creativity or whatever it might be could drive towards that eventual goal. Because obviously, as hockey fans here, the goal is to grow and sustain the game of hockey, right? So I just wonder about those sorts of things over time.
Well, the last excitement we had at the draft was when Eric Lindros said he wouldn't go to Quebec, and Mario Lemieux said he wouldn't report to Pittsburgh. Now he's the owner, by the way, but he did say he wouldn't report to Pittsburgh. And Eric Lindros, I talked to people that were sitting at the draft table, and Pierre, the owner, and Pierre Paget, the GM, both left to go and talk, and they had no clue. First of all, they didn't know who was going to make the pick because they didn't know if the owner and GM would get back to the table in time to make their pick because they were schmoozing the Lindroses. And also, they didn't know if Eric was even going to report, if he was going to accept it or whatever. So it was bizarre. That's the most excitement. What's that, 30 years ago? We need guys to say they won't report. We got to spice it up some, like the...
I don't think
what about the quarterback? When is it on the quarterback at Green Bay to win a goddamn playoff game or two? Seriously,
he was the MVP of the league last year.
Yeah, what was he in the playoffs? Was he MVP of the playoffs?
No, I think he made it to the second round. Right, I'll have to check
Jordan,
that out.
Mm-hmm. Where are the Green Bay Packer fans today? Are they sympathizing with Rodgers, or are they going to turn on him?
They're going to turn, clearly. I mean, you talk about small town markets and, big market versus small market. They tend to have a bigger, if you're the smaller your market, you tend to support your team more than the player and stuff like that, as opposed to player agency. Some people are saying that Rogers might retire and host Jeopardy. Like, imagine that.
By the way, did you see him when he hosted Jeopardy?
Yeah, it was great.
So let me remind you. So the question was, it was a guy from Canada was on Jeopardy, that show. And Roger said, hey, if I wanted to go to Canada, what's the best place to go in Canada for a vacation? And guess what the guy told Rogers?
Well, if he didn't say PEI, we wouldn't be hearing this story.
Exactly. So he said PEI, and Roger said, hey, that's a pretty good idea. I'm going to have to look into going there. And then, of course, I tell the guys at the Summerside Boys and Girls Club they should get them to come down for their golf tournament. There.
Well, we'll see how that plays out. But before we, Jordan, figure out how to spice up the NHL draft, maybe we should worry about marketing a great player, and this takes us into our Hart Trophy, the best player in the league, the guy that's perceived to be a runaway favorite in all of this. And Mac, our thumbnail, of course, is around the Hart Trophy. This could be the shortest conversation we've had on any show in the history of Real Kyper at noon. It's a foregone conclusion here that Connor McDavid, with his 17-point lead on second, which happens to be his teammate Draisaitl, will win this trophy. But I'll throw this out to you, and we look at the odds, and maybe before I even go to Mac here, Jordan, I'll ask you something. How are people even taking bets on this when it's almost written in stone here that he is going to win this award? Why would you take a bet knowing that you have to pay this thing out?
So I'm scrolling down slightly so everyone can see here. I'll move it over on the screen in a second, but these odds are of April 21st. And the reason that I'm showing them on a website and not a sports book is that a lot of sports book have taken these off the board at this point.
Okay, they have. So they're figuring it out, right?
Yeah. Earlier on in the season, maybe about 2.5 months ago, I placed a sizable bet on Patrick Kane to win just because his odds were so much better. So as a bettor is looking at these sort of things, you're weighing the upside of the plus number versus the likelihood that something freak happens, an injury, a trade, something weird.
Buddy, so why didn't you tell us? Why wouldn't you tell us I'm thinking about putting money on Patrick Kane? Like, we love Patrick Kane. He's our favorite here on the Real Kyper at Noon show. But he didn't have a hope in hell in winning the Hart. Not Mac, how do you say that? Not a snowball's chance.
Not a snowball's chance in hell. But listen, this is really amazing, because to watch the Edmonton Oilers go out and lose in the bubble to the Chicago Blackhawks last year, what did people expect Connor McDavid was going to be like this year coming back? Like, he is a man on a mission this year. He is going to drag that team into the fight. Now, you've got Matthews there too. And this guy has been unbelievable, Matthews, for me. He's been unbelievable. So it's a 2-horse race, in my opinion. And Sid's had a great year. Kane's had a great year.
Yeah,
but he is dragging the Oilers into the fight night after night after night. But I'll tell you what, Matthews is no slouch. He is no slouch.
Well, and
he's been that good too.
Matthews is running away with the Rocket Richard trophy. Yeah. So that comes into play. The Hart is awarded to the player that is most valuable to his team.
Yeah.
And I just don't know. Okay, points aside, Mac, how can you say that Connor McDavid is more valuable to Edmonton than Austin has been to the Leafs, Or I'll throw you a name. And
I'll tell you why.
as we scroll down that and we see McDavid, Matthews, Crosby, Kane, Rantanen, Hedman, Barkov, Connor Hellebuck before the disastrous week that they've had. The name that should be right behind McDavid and Matthews is Brad Marchand.
Damn right it should be.
So tell me, how can you tell me now as a voter that you believe that McDavid is more valuable to Edmonton than Brad Marchand has been to the Boston Bruins? Brad Marchand has single-handedly saved the Boston Bruins season this year.
There's no doubt. I'm looking at Connor McDavid and I'm saying, what are the Edmonton Oilers without Connor McDavid? I'm saying that the Toronto Maple Leafs can win with their talent base if Matthews is out. If Connor McDavid is not in the Edmonton Oilers lineup, I don't know how many games they're going to win. I don't care how smart Kenny Holland is and how smart Dave Tippett is and how good Draisaitl is and on and on. If they don't have Connor McDavid, they're not a great hockey team. Connor McDavid is keeping them in the fight. Are
they a playoff team?
I don't think I would have my doubts if they're. I don't think that the guy had 15 points the last 3 games prior to last night where he didn't get any points. The guy's been on fire. He's on a mission. He's obsessed.
Scoring a point a period.
Exactly.
In that stretch.
Exactly. So that and Brad Marchand to me is. I watched him again last night. I'm telling you, he has been. And Bergeron is real important there. Pasternak's important. But Marchand has been really the guy that all of a sudden is making that line go a lot of nights. He really is the guy making them go. And I watched them a lot. So he's been the most valuable player on the Bruins, in my opinion.
When we look at the big scope, the one thing that Connor McDavid doesn't do or contribute is shorthanded. And we've talked to a lot of people, including our good buddy Brian Burke, who hates putting out his stars to kill a penalty because he's scared of the broken bone on a block shot. And Connor doesn't kill penalties. A lot of stars don't kill penalties.
Yeah.
The Boston Bruins are led by Brad Marchand and Bergeron shorthanded. Marner's the closest one I can think of off the top of my head right now that kills penalties and is still a catalyst offensively.
Yeah, there's very few.
Should that not come into the equation here, that this makes Brad Marchand even more valuable because he kills penalties? Somebody told me, Mac, that between Marchand and Bergeron, in the last hour that the Boston Bruins have been shorthanded, they've scored 7 goals and given up 6. Like, think about that for a second.
Oh no, look, I'm not denying it, but
it's a huge thing for, again, to be considered one of the most valuable players in the league when you are all around every part of your team's success.
And look, I have a hard time saying anything about Brad Marchand. I said it 3 or 4 years ago. He should have been in the top 5 in the voting for the MVP, and I got hammered. I got hammered by those bozos out there that like to hammer people. But I got hammered. Like, it was scary what people were saying. But I still, as much as I love watching Brad Marchand and I love watching what he does for the Boston Bruins, he is not even close to McDavid.
No,
sorry.
Well,
sorry
they're
for
just
me.
Different players.
Yeah, it's just not. It's not. I mean, Bergeron is such a catalyst there with his 200-foot game. Pasternak makes dynamic plays. I agree, and I mean, McDavid plays with Puljujarvi, and he's been playing with Cahoon lately,
and still makes it magical.
And I mean, he gets with Draisaitl. Last night they put him with Draisaitl a little bit. he gets with Draisaitl. The relationship with Draisaitl and McDavid, I understand, has really gotten better because Draisaitl all of a sudden realizes that he's not better than McDavid. He realizes that he is number 2. That's helped probably. I just don't know how you can ever say this. I mean, to me, it's like you said, it's a runaway. And I love Brad Marchand.
Yeah.
And maybe he should be 3. Has he been better than Sid Crosby this year?
Well, I mean, it sounds like just by your arguments that he should definitely be in the top 10 at least. And I can't find his odds on the internet anywhere. So that means that he's down below the likes of Mitch Marner and Zibanejad and McKinnon. So, you know, maybe not the best look for these markets, but that's kind of an example of what we were talking about earlier. When you have such a runaway favorite in McDavid, it's hard for the other suitors to kind of have any supporters out there spending their money on it. So that's why it might be reflected that way.
Now, would Leaf fans say that McDavid's a runaway when here's what's going to be unbelievably interesting, because MVPs, Coach of the Year, it's all regular season. I want to see at the end of the playoffs, you got the Conn Smythe winner, you know, who is that going to be? Because as obsessed as McDavid is to get the Oilers into the playoffs, he's got to be even more obsessed with having success at playoff time. Matthews is got to be obsessed with having the Leafs have playoff success. I mean, these two guys trained together for a month last year in Scottsdale. How did that fuel the rivalry? I know they're great friends.
Matthews is the only one that is closer to McDavid than the guys underneath him. And there are some really good names with honorable mention, Mac. You know, Panarin's been good. Mark Stone in Vegas.
Oh, terrific.
He's got that Marchand kind of MVP where he does everything as well.
Darren Millard would be crushed listening to this conversation because he's got Stone better than Mario Lemieux last time I talked to him. You know, when Mario and Gretzky were in their prime. You know, so I mean,
just leave him alone for 1 second, Darren, please.
Stone has been terrific. He has been. Well, they win their 10th in a row last night.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, how good are they playing right now?
So,
man. He's the guy. He's the main man out there. Anyway, go ahead.
Is Matthews a better goal scorer than you ever imagined? Because that's the one thing. And we know his historic debut with the Toronto Maple Leafs where he scored 4 goals. But I don't even think that was indicative of what a pure goal scorer shooter this guy is.
I didn't see it. I mean, I didn't know him as a junior. I mean, I remember Mark Crawford talking about him at length about how good he was in Europe when he played for him over there. And, you know, and where was he? Switzerland. You know, I didn't expect it. And the arsenal of shot selection that he has is over the top. I mean, whether it's the snapper or the pull or, you know, I mean, he's just got an arsenal. I mean, Brett Hull had the one big shot. This guy has got an arsenal for goaltenders. You don't know where he's going. You don't know
the hands
pull out.
They are like, you know, when we talk about pure shooters from any generation, and even when you think of Mike Bossy, who is arguably and still should remain as one of the purest, best goal scorers in the history of the game with his consecutive 50-goal seasons. Ovechkin, Yari Curry, like they were all great scorers, pure scorers, but I don't think they had the mixture for me.
No.
Of the shot and the quickness of the hands that we've seen out of. He's got Austin Matthews has hands like Pat Kane, but also a shot that can be compared to anybody's in the history of the game.
And you know, you love hearing about him, how he loves the game, how he reads the game, how he sees the ice, this guy has got a great hockey mind. Connor McDavid, it's almost like Bobby Orr to Nick Lidstrom for me, you know, where you compare Bobby Orr and Nick Lidstrom. Bobby Orr was that end-to-end skater that changed the game offensively because he would go end-to-end, and then he'd circle the net, go back behind his own net, and go again. Whereas Nick Lidstrom was a great defenseman, but he played it a little different, and he had all kinds of different aspects. Bobby was just a pure, unbelievable talent. I remember watching him as a kid. Well, not as a kid. I mean, watching him a fair amount. I mean, he was so damn good. But he was almost – Bobby Orr is like a McDavid type of player. Austin is not – is he more of a – who would he be?
It's more, just the only thing missing from different. They are different, but the only thing missing is that third and fourth gear that we don't necessarily see out of Matthews. But he doesn't need it in his game. Austin isn't going to go end to end like Bobby Orr. Connor will.
Yeah,
but
sure.
Outside of that,
yeah,
they are comparable in their ability to create offense and have the wow factor the moment they cross over the blue line. You can't wait to see what's coming up next every time they cross the blue line.
I was just going to say that when Austin Matthews or Connor McDavid cross the blue line, you're like, what is going to happen now? And I can't wait to see. We always rave about how coaches defense the game, how they shut down people. I want to see in this year's playoffs, how did the Chicago Blackhawks beat Connor McDavid last year? Like, seriously. I want to see this year how they defend Matthews, they defend Matthews. I want to see that in the playoffs and how it plays out, because the number one discussion in every dressing room is going to be shut down Matthews Marner, shut down McDavid Draisaitl. It's going to be major, and it'll be fun to see if anybody can.
There is a sense that the Leafs have a lot more around Marner and Matthews than the Oilers still, Mac. That's the only thing, is that he's going to have to come up with 2.5 points a game here in the playoffs for Edmonton to have any success, because you don't see it coming from anywhere else. James Neal scored the other day. Can he get going? Should be a legit 30-goal scorer still in there somewhere.
No, he can't. I mean,
Yamamoto going to have a coming out party in the playoffs.
Yamamoto, by the way, is a hell of a player. Yamamoto's a really good player.
He's going to have to alleviate some pressure, though, off those two guys.
The other thing is, and I know these guys were mentioning Yamamoto. He doesn't play with Draisaitl all that much, although he did the other night, or with McDavid. He did play with him a bit the other night. Pajärvi is not. He's trying to play a bit of a give and go game, but he's not that type of player. When you compare Marner to those names, Draisaitl's power. Draisaitl is terrific on the power play with McDavid. They put them together, 1-2 punch, but then they got nothing else coming after them is the problem, or not much coming after them. Marner is so important to Matthews too. When they cross the blue line and they start their little games, oh man, are they tough to defend.
This should be unanimous, though. I mean, he could McDavid could run this thing right across the board with first place votes.
Yeah, I think he will, and I say that with unbelievable admiration for what Matthews has developed into. This guy is. I mean, they are so damn lucky that they got Austin Matthews in that draft. I mean, that's a generational player that you don't get McDavid's one thing. We knew he was going to be a superstar. But for the Leafs to get Matthews, they are so damn lucky. Babcock did his best coaching job the year he finished 31st, and they won.
Brendan Shanahan had a lot to do with that, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so I know on the board, Jordan, you have the rookies as well. Kirill the Thrill, Kaprizov, Mac was supposed to run away with this as much as Connor McDavid with the MVP. And then you have Robertson, who is now lighting it up with Jamie Benn and Pavelski with Dallas. And 21-year-old compared to a guy that's older and had more chances to polish his game in the KHL. Does that matter to you when it comes to the age differential of these? And 40 points for Robertson is worthy of winning this award right now.
And what's Kirill got for points?
I don't think he's much higher than that.
No, very close. Look, for me, if as long as he's within the guidelines of the NHL, it shouldn't matter. If they're putting it in the guidelines that it's under 26 or 24 years of age, if whatever it's under, if it fits in the guidelines, then Kirill should be able to win it.
I think it's under 25, I think.
Yeah. I mean, the guy won it in Calgary years ago. He was like 35. They had to probably change it, Wasn't he 35? He was the oldest player, one of the oldest players in the league, and he won Rookie of the Year. I think they had to change it.
All right. Honorable mention to the guys in Ottawa. Stitzel, you're in a position where you expect top picks at the draft to have success now. But Josh Norris has given the Ottawa Senators a different look now.
Yeah, I mean, he's become a good player for them, but to me, he's not in the category of Kaprizov for me yet. And I mean, I think he'll become that. What Kaprizov has done for the Minnesota Wild is he's changed the way the team plays the game. I mean, I watched one night him and Zuccarello. I mean, they have Kaprizov has changed the look of this organization. I couldn't comment because I refused to watch them. They were so boring, and he has made them into an exciting
watchable
to watch. Yeah,
he's made them watchable,
and he's got them playing a little bit more of that style of game. To me, he's been a real difference maker for this organization that right now people are scared of playing. And that's with all due respect to the kids in Ottawa. Norris, I know his dad, he's a newfie. I mean, I think the world of him. And he's had a hell of a year. Stützle, he's going to be a star. I mean, I can't, every time I watch Ottawa, I think of those guys, but I'm awestruck watching Tkachuk, the way this kid plays.
Alex Nedeljkovic in Carolina, Mac. And I hated it when there was 3 goalies up on a team. It's just horrible in practice watching those guys try to stay out of the way. One of them out of the way when he doesn't get a net.
Millsy used to love it. He'd go and sit in the bench.
This has worked for Carolina up until now. Is there a chance that we're seeing teams that expect so much of themselves, like Carolina, with Nedeljkovic and Spencer Knight now in Florida? Is there a chance that we could see these guys have big impacts in the playoffs?
Well, I mean, Knight has had a reputation for a long time of being, potential star. He gets his second win. I think it's kind of hard to say he's going to be a difference maker, but he sure as hell could be. I mean, he's a pretty talented kid. There's more to the Carolina Hurricanes than their goaltending. I mean, the way they play the game as a team, the way they get the puck out of their own zone, the way they come with speed, the way they defend. There's a lot to this team that makes it a little better for goaltending. But and I know, if you don't have unbelievable goaltending in the playoffs, you're not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere. So I don't care how good your team is, you still have to have great goaltending because the emotional level goes to a different pace. And you see a lot more scoring, a lot more tougher goals by people going hard to the paint. So it'll be fun to watch.
Okay, let's get into a little bit, Mac, on what we saw last night and how it may have kind of derailed a few races in the process. We talked off the top of the show, the New York Rangers and their loss, and perhaps the Islanders reminding us and Barry Trotz reminding us how to get it done because they were struggling, Mac. They couldn't score. And there we are last night, and it's the Rangers that can't score.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Rangers they got within 4. It was such a big game for them. You know, you watch the Boston game. It was a battle, and then Boston pull away, you know, with the 5-2 win. But look, you know, if the Rangers win last night, this could go any way here. Still could go any way, I guess, but that's a tough assignment. The Rangers are a bit of a young group. There's some of their people, the way the Islanders stifle you, snuff you out, not an easy team to play against when they get it going defensively. So, I mean, I don't see the Rangers coming back. They've had a good run here. I mean, listen, they create scoring chances. They score. They missed Panarin for how many games? I mean, what was he gone for?
Yeah, he's gone, 3 weeks?
I mean,
4
you look
weeks?
at it, and that was a monumental loss for this team. So, you know, the D'Angelo debacle, as you know, whether you like him or hate him, he still was a pretty good player for their team. I guess it's allowed some young guys to develop. But so the Rangers, to me, we talked in our preseason. We talked that the Rangers could surprise. We talked about that at length, Nick. That they could
pretty
surprise.
much they fell where we thought they'd fall. That they'd be close, but not quite there.
And they would be exciting because they've got some good talent. So, you know what? They're poised as typical with JD, John Davidson. He goes in and starts the rebuild and takes us 7 or so years, and he should be ready to retire by the time this one's over. You know, he's had that's 3 rebuilds: St. Louis, Columbus. And was Columbus a rebuild or a reload? I think it was a reload.
Ask your good buddy Jeff Rimmer.
Yeah. Anyway,
another game that I
can't even watch them play anymore. I'm sorry. Hey, the 0-0 game against Detroit, Columbus the other night, that ended me. When that ended 0-0 in regulation, that ended me. No more viewings of the Blue Jackets or Detroit this year. I'm done. Don't ask me to watch them. I don't care what Rimmer says. I'm done watching them. 0-0 after regulation.
A St. Louis win last night, Mac, kind of also ended maybe Arizona's chances of finding a way to get into the playoffs here. You think of the West, and it's always Vegas and Colorado, and you spoke of Minnesota and how much fun they're to watch, and how it'll be interesting to see that play out. But who wants to play St. Louis right now if you're Vegas or Colorado? Ryan O'Reilly is another guy that's kind of put a team on his back.
Now, Tarasenko, he's sort of in and out. I don't think he played last night. I think he was out last night. Was he, Tarasenko? So, I mean, they have struggled mightily with injuries. If they get people that are healthy and are really healthy, they will not be fun. Binnington, we know what he can do if he gets it going. I mean, no, you don't want to play them. Parayko's a big body. I mean, they've got, I don't know. I think they'll be tough to play. I really do. They got some pride. They got some pride.
It was a good game last night. Again, to kind of fall on your entertainment value of the Minnesota Wild. Watching Foligno and Bertuzzo and all these guys battle it out. This is going to be some fun hockey to watch here.
Yeah, the West is going to be very, very interesting and exciting, and it's going to be hard-nosed hockey. It's not going to be fluff and, you know, play that cute, cuddly, cozy game. This is going to be ugly, knock them down, drag them out. There's going to be some wars in the West, let me tell you. And if teams in the Canadian division want to give the Leafs any trouble, they better play a lot tougher than some of them are playing right now.
Dallas,
they may want to watch a couple of St. Louis games. What about the game tonight? Dallas and Nashville tonight.
No, that's do they not go Saturday night?
I thought they played tonight. It's Saturday night.
There's Saturday night, Mac. Tonight,
It's
there's
the
only
next-
4 games on tap, and
Okay, so it's the next game they play.
yeah, there seems to be a little bit. There's not too much excitement going on tonight, other than 3 games that could have positioning settled still, with Sharks and Avs, Golden Knights and Arizona, and
Okay.
Kings and Ducks, Jets and Canadians.
Like, you got
What
to
is
tell me.
what
is
does
going on?
Calgary? What does Calgary do now? Do they really believe that they can catch Montreal? Is Montreal reeling? Is the loss of Jonathan Drouin and Carey Price still doesn't appear anywhere near coming back? Like,
We need it.
Can Montreal now? They've got 3 more games, Mac. Montreal against the Toronto Maple Leafs here. 2 games by Edmonton. Could they lose 7 of 8 here?
No, I see Montreal getting in. I can't believe. What have they got to win? 3 of 8 to get in for sure.
500 will get it done.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've got to believe. Now, listen, your good buddy there, the agent from LA, I forget his name, Alan somebody.
Alan Walsh.
He was the O.J. Simpson lawyer. He has been. I mean, we got to get him on and find out what's going on with Drouin. Like, what's the story there?
We don't know, and I don't.
He has some
at the end of the day,
pressure.
it's
serious pressure on this kid.
I don't know. I haven't. Nobody's told me anything, but we are to assume, and the general feeling amongst many that are talking is it's mental health issues. So
I have not heard that.
If in fact that's the case, the thing you do is, you look after yourself. And again, I don't know.
You get him well.
But we just heard from Robin Leonard, and
yeah,
if it is Mac mental health that he needs time to sort things out, I'm surprised that there's not more after everything these guys have been through in the last year and a half, 2 years. And again, it goes to speak what Robin Leonard said, that this is tough on the guys here.
You want to believe it is. And for this kid, Drouin, I mean, it has been tough since day one in Montreal for him, with the success of Sergachev, a French kid coming back to Montreal, extreme pressure. So I haven't seen what it is either, if it was an injury or if it's just time away, what he needs, but they got to get it to him. But listen, between you lose Drouin and Carey Price, like, what is going on here? I mean, now I hear he may be close to coming back, but where's this guy's psychic right now? Where is this guy's mindset to win for the Montreal Canadiens? I mean,
Mac, he's out with a concussion, so he's got to physically be in a good place for all of that to kind of kick in.
For sure. But it's been concussion, it's been leg injuries. It just keeps going on and on for this guy.
Somebody mentioned it to me the other day, is go back in the last 3 years and find out how many times he was like first star or the best player on the ice.
I know.
And it hasn't looked good for Carey Price, not just this season, but for a good stretch here.
I know. And you know what? As much as Jake Allen has done, I don't see Jake Allen getting it done at playoff time.
He's done everything that was asked of him.
He's done everything and more of what's been asked of him. I just don't see the success at playoff time unless this team plays an awful lot better. And he's been good, this guy. He's been everything. Now, is it that maybe it wasn't just giving Carey Price rest? Maybe it was they were nervous about Carey to begin with, and that's why they brought him in. I mean, let's hope Carey comes back.
That's
from
fine, but
and all the other issues. But they're not winning unless Carey Price is a star. They're not winning unless Carey Price is a star.
If Mark Bergevin brought in Jake Allen to if he brought him in to fill in for Carey Price, if he thought that Carey Price wasn't going to play well, then he's sunk anyways because you are going to live off of that contract.
I know.
And if Carey Price's status with the Montreal Canadiens is going down the tubes, Bergevin's going to go right down the tubes with him.
I mean, what is it, 6-7 more years?
You have no other choice if you're Marc Bergevin and the Montreal Canadiens but to put Carey in as fast as he feels like he can, and he's healthy enough, and you ride that horse.
Yeah, I agree. But based on what we've watched and seen with the way that, he's been bumped up and banged up and in and out of the lineup in the last few years. Am I wrong in that? It's been 3 years?
It's been 3 years, Max, since we've seen Carey Price anywhere close as the best goalie in the world.
Yeah, I agree. So it'll be, that's going to be a real question for the Habs. So the Canadian division, you got Winnipeg right now reeling.
Outscored 21-6 in the last 5 games they've lost, Mac. 21-6.
What the hell happened there?
And Montreal plays tonight. That's the game everybody should be watching in terms of real interest.
So what would you suggest? Should I watch Montreal Winnipeg tonight or Yellowstone tonight?
I don't know enough about Yellowstone.
Oh, really?
Yellowstone would be one of the most popular shows on television if it was on a major network.
Kevin Costner, who's in it?
Kevin Costner is in it. Yeah. So that's my challenge tonight. Is
I'd go with the Jets Canadians
at 9 o'clock. If the games are shit, it's a bowl of ice cream in Yellowstone. If the games are good, I stay with the red wine. Is it
Haagen-Dazs?
No, it's the cheap stuff, but we get salted caramel. But anyway, so that's it. If it's a good game, I stay with it with a little glass of cab. If it's shit, I go to Yellowstone and ice cream. What do you think, Jordan?
Salted caramel sounds pretty nice, to be honest. That's one of my favorites, if I'm being honest with you, man.
Mac, I think we did talk about this the other day, but the whole Scheifele benching, the 17 minutes, the comments that Scheifele made after, I don't agree with it at the time. And the magnitude of the game, I definitely didn't agree with it. So let's leave it at that.
Yeah.
It's not that easy to kind of just park it and move on, is it? I mean,
Paul always gives you the impression that things are really cuddly, cozy, and rosy there. Do you get the impression that maybe it's not all that cuddly, cozy, and rosy in that dressing room?
I don't know, Mac. A lot of it was there was some friction on Patrick Laine having too much success too early. Maybe some of the players want to kind of pull him back a little bit and say, there's more to the game than just putting the puck in the net. I mean, that should have been.
Torts has certainly drilled that into him.
Whatever. I'm not suggesting who's right or who's wrong here. I'm just saying that when Patrick Laine left, there was a sense that there's going to be more harmony in that dressing room.
Yeah.
So up until a week and a half ago, although there is a level of inconsistency in Winnipeg, they were often regarded as the team that had the best chance to challenge the Toronto Maple Leafs, not the Edmonton Oilers. But that clearly has changed now.
They did for me prior to the trade deadline. But after the trade deadline, not for me, sorry.
Oh, because it's completely turned.
They did not get a defenseman or two, and they needed them. So I've already talked enough about that. Waste my time. They're not listening to me, obviously.
All right. One note on the Toronto-Vancouver game.
Oh, my God. Was that torture to watch?
Well, not if you're a Leaf fan. You're loving every second of it. You dressed your B team and you still won.
I saw a clip the other day. Somebody tweeted out, and they showed it was to Vancouver fans, and it showed Roger Nielsen's statue with the white flag. Wasn't a good look.
Is that where they're at? If it's fatigue, Mac, if they're tired, if whatever the case is.
And the guy that tweeted it out his last name was Maclean. And I just want to make sure that people out there know that he was no relation to me, although I do have a brother living.
You have a brother out there.
And he's a smartass. He's a bad smartass. And for some reason,
he's a huge
like the Canucks.
He's not a Canuck fan. So
no, he's not a Canuck fan. He's a big fan of this show for some reason.
Connect the dots then. The one thing, Mac, I did not like in the Toronto-Vancouver game from a Canuck perspective.
Oh, yes.
Is Wayne Simmons going after Alex Edler. And I get it.
Well,
I lived it. I know.
But you wanted the Leaf reaction, so you have to be happy with that. A week or 10 days late, but you have to be happy with that.
I'm talking about now a Vancouver
reaction.
Alex Edler. Okay, one of the nicest people you'll ever meet now. And you, as a Vancouver Canuck player, serve up a guy that's got almost 1,000 games, your $6 million defenseman. You serve him up on a platter to Wayne Simmons. Never a fight in his career. And you just serve him to Wayne Simmons. Not one guy can come in and just cause a melee. He can't, you can't push back Wayne Simmons a little bit. You let him go try to break Alex Edler's face. What is that?
It is not good. It is not good. And especially when you're looking for small victories, and I'm telling you, I don't get it. I don't get it.
Just look like you care about Alex Edler a little bit.
How do you not expect that going into this game, that Simmons or somebody was going to do something to Edler for putting a guy as popular as Hyman is out of the lineup? Surely Travis Green expected that, or Jim Benning expected something.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm okay and good on Alex Edler. He manned up, man.
He did.
He dropped his gloves and he said, "I'm going to do this," and that's it. That's the end of that. But
exactly.
you didn't have to make it that easy for Wayne Simmons to go and do that. Send some sort of message that you care enough about this guy that I'm not going to just roll out the red carpet for you to go bash his face in. But
you know what? Full marks. Not that we promote violence on this show or fighting. We don't do that. That's not what we are. But Simmons.
It's a game of hockey, isn't it, still at the pro level?
Well, it's not. We don't promote it. We don't promote it. But
promoting
Simmons,
it.
Simmons has done that his whole career. Whole career, Simmons has done that.
Yes.
And that's why Simmons has got the reputation, a unbelievably positive reputation around the league. I wasn't overly I mean, he was so bad the last 3 years playing. Obviously, it was injuries. Obviously, it was where he was. But the kids battled like crazy this year. And I gotta give him full marks because I wasn't overly excited about the pickup. But I tell you what, I was wrong on that. But we'll see. Playoffs,
Well, I think Vancouver can collect a lot of things in their thought process over the off season, and we know that there's some good pieces there, but there's no guarantee, Mac, that you're going to be competing, in a few years if you don't find ways to really look like you care about each other. And I thought that was a ball dropped by the Vancouver Canucks.
Well, and you know what? It's not they've came off such a positive year last year with the way they performed in the playoffs. Now they're going into an off season with Travis Green not signed, Jimmy Benning still with major cap issues. I mean, what Jimmy's got a tough assignment to get his top young stars signed, in Hughes and Pettersson. He'll get them done. Demko looks like he's ready to be a positive force in goal for them, which is a real positive. You just don't know what becomes of them. You just don't know what becomes of them. They're a pretty talented group still, but there's not the same excitement about this hockey team as there was this time last year. I'll guarantee you that.
Yeah, right now there doesn't seem to be a sense that Pettersson and Hughes want matching contracts right now.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
So that's a bit of a challenge.
Yep.
So what else you got for us on this Friday?
Nothing. I'm, I've had a busy morning already. I've been to the airport and back, dropped Mackenzie off at the airport. So I'm just going to maybe go and do a little beach time today and try to relax. It's been
no golf
today.
You're gearing up for a big week next week?
Yes, next week I'm playing at Pine Tree, which is a great course around here. I was invited to play Pine Tree next Thursday, so I'm a little nervous about it. It's a tough course.
Have you played it before?
I played it last year, and oh my God! I mean, it's terrible. It was
and
too
what was
tough.
the issue? What was the issue there?
It was just too tough a course for me. Too tough. The goddamn ball, when I chip it on the green, wouldn't stay on the green. It would roll right off. Like it was like it was going on a table. They got to let the greens grow out a little. So I've got
put some backspin on it.
I got the challenge of the greens. I got the challenge of the traps. And the biggest challenge I've been telling my two buddies that I've been in the 80s a lot, and they're both 4 handicaps, and I got to go and play with them. So I'm kind of nervous. It's going to be a nerve-wracking experience for me.
Just keep the pace of play.
They invited me because they want to shut me up. That's why they invited me to play.
We're going to take odds, Jordan, on Mac cracking 100 on that golf course.
I think it's got to be like a plus 150 that he cracks 100, I think, to be honest. Nothing to be ashamed of, right? I mean, come on.
I was even thinking of getting a new pair of golf shoes to go over. And,
Doug, you got to check out these new Nike Air Maxes or Nike Jordan golf shoes. I got a pair for my dad for his birthday coming up, and
aren't they sold out?
I didn't get the Jordan
ones. You have to pay $1,000 on the internet.
The ones I got were 180, and I sent him the picture, and he was like, you know what? I'm a FootJoy guy. I like FootJoy, Jordan. And I was like, Dad, come on, man.
Because they're $79. They're $79, the FootJoys. Listen, the last time I went over to Pine Tree to play, I get out of the car, and I wasn't out of the car 10 seconds. Even before my clubs got out of the car, the guy that greeted us said, "Excuse me, sir, would you tuck in your shirt tail?" I thought I knew I had to tuck in my shirt tail, but can I get out of the car before I tuck it in? Anyway.
Breaking rules right off the bat. I don't even know if they'll let you in. I think your picture's at the front gate.
Anyway,
the PEI bad boy, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I like it. Right. PEI. The boys playing t-shirts and blue jeans. I love it.
Our thanks to the bad boy of PEI, Doug Maclean. Enjoy your weekend, man. Okay, stay safe.
Stay too.
Don't be hurting yourself on the pickleball court.
I haven't been playing much lately. My back's stiff. So anyway, okay.
Get some therapy. Isn't there like a little therapy shop at the bottom of your condo for all your neighbors?
The therapy I need, you have to go to a psychiatrist for.
All right. The mentally challenged Doug Maclean from Florida. All right, Jordan, thanks, man. I really appreciate it. You have a great weekend as well. For all of you, thanks for watching, listening. First-time watcher, subscribe, leave your comments for us. It's been a fun week here on the Real Kyper at Noon Show. Enjoy the weekend, enjoy the games, and we'll see you on Monday.